Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
Ryan Reynolds? Oh, hey there. How's it going? Fantastic. Why? What have you heard? Under the dazzling lights of the SNL 50th anniversary stage, Hollywood's elite gathered: Steven Spielberg, Will Ferrell, Scarlett Johansson, and even Bad Bunny. But the moment that truly set social media on fire was the entrance of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. Their presence alone was enough to turn heads, especially given the recent storm of controversy surrounding them. Just weeks prior, headlines painted a grim picture of their personal struggles, with Blake allegedly so distressed she couldn't leave her home. Yet here she was, radiant and smiling, arm in arm with Ryan. The irony wasn't lost on the internet, which wasted no time in pointing it out. The night was meant to be a tribute to SNL's incredible 5-decade legacy, filled with nostalgia, laughter, and major celebrity reunions. But with Ryan and Blake in attendance, the event took on an entirely different tone, one of scrutiny, intrigue, and disbelief. Their mere presence raised questions, but what really set the internet ablaze was what happened next. During a star-studded Q&A, Ryan took the microphone. "How's it going?" he asked, only to immediately follow up with, "Great. Why? What have you heard?" His delivery was casual, even humorous, but there was no mistaking the underlying message. He was well aware of the swirling rumors and had chosen this stage to subtly address them. The camera panned to various celebrities, capturing a mix of reactions, some chuckling politely, others shifting uncomfortably, and Kevin Costner remaining completely expressionless. To some, it was clever humor. To others, an obvious attempt at damage control. No matter how it was interpreted, one thing was clear: Ryan and Blake were making a statement. They weren't hiding, they weren't avoiding the conversation. They were confronting it head-on, but the question lingered: why were they even there? SNL 50 was packed with legends, many of whom had hosted before. Even Kim Kardashian, despite the controversy surrounding her, had at least hosted an episode. But Ryan and Blake? Neither had ever been an SNL host. Ryan had made a brief cameo in Cool in the past, but that was the extent of his connection. Their attendance felt deliberate, like a well-crafted PR move orchestrated by powerful industry allies eager to help clean up their image. The speculation grew. Was this a calculated comeback, disguised as an innocent appearance? Then there was the underlying awkwardness. Ryan had long been reluctant to do live television, reportedly due to SNL's head writer Colin Jost being married to his ex-wife Scarlett Johansson. That only added another layer of tension. Here was Ryan in a room filled with Hollywood's biggest names, delivering a joke that balanced between self-awareness and deflection. The online reaction was swift. Some praised his humor, others cringed. Many called out the hypocrisy. If Blake had been so emotionally distraught she couldn't leave her home, why was she now glowing on the red carpet, seemingly unbothered? "They really don't know how to read a room," one comment read. "This whole thing is a joke to them," another added. Some even theorized that this was a strategic move to reshape public perception before their legal troubles escalated. They had turned their controversy into a joke, but was that resilience or just Hollywood privilege at play? The industry has a way of protecting its own, and power often dictates who walks away unscathed. Justin Baldoni, the man caught in the middle of this drama, had already suffered professional consequences. Meanwhile, Ryan and Blake were out here, laughing it off, seemingly untouchable. Was it fair? Was it calculated? And more importantly, would it work? Their behavior didn't just feel out of place, it was jarring. Their over-the-top cheerfulness contrasted sharply with the recent narrative of turmoil. As the camera lingered on Blake, her radiant smile clashed with the story she had shared about emotional distress. People exchanged looks. It wasn't just Ryan's joke that was being scrutinized, but the unspoken message behind it. Were they really trying to sweep everything under the rug with a few laughs? Hollywood damage control isn't new. A well-placed public appearance is a classic strategy. But this wasn't just any event. This was SNL's 50th anniversary, a gathering of entertainment's biggest power players. Ryan and Blake weren't just attending, they were ensuring they were at the center of the conversation. They knew the cameras would be there, that headlines would follow, and that by making light of the situation, they could shift the narrative from scandal to satire. The problem? Not everyone was laughing. Social media exploded with mixed reactions. Some fans defended them, applauding Ryan's humor and Blake's confidence. Others weren't buying it. They're just proving they don't take this seriously. One tweet read, "Ryan looks nervous, Blake looks thrilled. That says everything," another noted. Even online body language analysts dissected their every move. Ryan's shifting stance, Blake's effortless poise. To some, they appeared unbothered. To others, it all felt like a rehearsed act. And then there was the glaring issue. Justin Baldoni. While Ryan and Blake basked in the limelight, the man at the center of their controversy remained silent, his career already taking a hit. That imbalance fueled the outrage. They could joke, make a grand entrance, steal the spotlight, while Justin bore the brunt of the fallout. This wasn't just about what was said on that SNL stage, it was about what it represented. Even Hollywood's most seasoned stars seemed hesitant to react too strongly. Unlike other high-profile scandals where celebrities take clear sides, this situation had an air of quiet tension. The room's laughter was polite, measured. No one wanted to be seen as too supportive or too critical. It was as if the industry itself was waiting, watching to see if this stunt would pay off or backfire. As the night continued, social media continued dissecting every frame, every smirk, every micro-expression exchanged between Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. The SNL 50th anniversary had inadvertently become a proving ground for their ability to weather controversy. It wasn't just about their marriage anymore. It was about their influence, their resilience, and ultimately, their power within Hollywood's tightly woven hierarchy. The reactions were starkly divided. Some lauded their handling of the situation, claiming that in a cutthroat industry, humor was often the best defense. Others saw it as another example of Hollywood's elite shielding their own while leaving others in the dust. The whispers of industry favoritism were growing louder, with critics pointing out the stark contrast between Ryan and Blake's reception versus how other figures had been ostracized for similar or even lesser scandals. Meanwhile, in the background of all this chatter, Justin Baldoni remained eerily silent. It was the kind of silence that spoke volumes. No cryptic social media posts, no public statements, just absence. And in Hollywood, absence is rarely accidental. For those well-versed in Hollywood's crisis management tactics, the SNL 50th Mamkafuntim's appearance was textbook. Step 1, control the narrative. Step 2, get ahead of the speculation. Step 3, use a major public platform to reframe the story. And Step 4, let time do the rest. Ryan's joke wasn't just a quip, it was a calculated move. By joking about the controversy, he stripped it of its power. By standing on that stage, Blake at his side, they were making an unspoken declaration. We are still here, and we are still relevant. But not everyone was willing to play along. The backlash was growing, not just among internet sleuths, but among industry insiders as well. A well-timed article in Variety questioned the sincerity of the couple's public persona. An anonymous studio executive was quoted saying, "It's amazing how quickly the narrative shifts when the right people are in your corner." That sentiment echoed across the industry. It was a reminder that Hollywood's golden rule wasn't just about talent, it was about who had the power to shape the conversation. As days passed, the media frenzy refused to die down. Entertainment talk shows debated whether Ryan and Blake had successfully controlled their image or if they had merely prolonged the inevitable fallout. The segment on The View was particularly scathing, with one host remarking, "There's something unsettling about the way this played out. The privilege is so blatant." Another added, "We've seen this before. It's the same cycle. Deny, joke, reappear at a major event, and wait for the internet to move on." But the internet wasn't moving on. More layers to the story were surfacing, and the pieces weren't aligning neatly. First, there was the issue of Blake's supposed emotional distress. Just weeks earlier, reports described her as being in a near reclusive state. If those reports were to be believed, then her sudden reemergence, glowing, confident, and unfazed, raised even more eyebrows. Had those initial stories been exaggerated? Or was this public appearance an attempt to rewrite that narrative altogether? Then there was the question of why this controversy had even erupted in the first place. Reports about tensions between Ryan and Justin Baldoni had been circulating for months. While details remained murky, whispers suggested that it wasn't just a personal rift. It was a professional power struggle as well. Sources hinted that Justin had been on the verge of landing a major project, only for it to mysteriously fall apart at the last minute. The timing was too convenient for some to ignore. Hollywood has always been a town built on power plays. The right connections can make or break careers. And while Ryan and Blake were cracking jokes at SNL, Justin was left dealing with the aftermath of an unspoken blacklist. Another curious detail from the night: Kevin Costner's reaction, or rather, lack thereof. When Ryan delivered his now infamous joke, the camera panned across the crowd, catching glimpses of celebrities exchanging knowing glances or stifling chuckles. But Costner? He remained stone-faced. Some speculated he was simply uninterested. Others theorized he saw right through the charade. Costner, a Hollywood veteran who has seen his fair share of industry maneuvering, likely recognized the performance for what it was: an orchestrated PR stunt designed to minimize damage. And unlike the audience at home, he was in the room, witnessing the dynamics unfold in real time. As more conversations unfolded, one question became increasingly difficult to ignore. Had Ryan and Blake miscalculated? Damage control is a delicate art. The public may be forgiving, but they aren't easily fooled. Hollywood's history is littered with failed attempts at image rehabilitation, attempts that backfired spectacularly when the audience saw through the act. And with social media acting as the ultimate equalizer, the traditional playbook was no longer as foolproof as it once was. Some fans remained loyal, insisting that the couple's appearance was merely an attempt to move forward. Others weren't as kind. Twitter, or X as it is now known, was flooded with threads analyzing everything from Ryan's body language to the logistics of their arrival. One particularly viral tweet summarized the sentiment perfectly. "I love Ryan and Blake, but this whole thing feels off. The timing, the joke, the over-the-top happiness, it's giving PR stunt." Even entertainment analysts began weighing in. A segment on Entertainment Tonight featured a body language expert breaking down the nuances of Ryan and Blake's interactions throughout the night. The analysis was brutal. Ryan, despite his humorous exterior, showed clear signs of nervousness. Blake, on the other hand, seemed almost too polished, too rehearsed. So what was the end game? For now, it seemed like the couple was betting on their charm and humor to carry them through, but Hollywood's landscape was changing. Audiences were more critical, more skeptical, and less willing to accept surface-level apologies or diversions. The illusion of untouchability was fading, and if Ryan and Blake weren't careful, they might find themselves on the wrong side of a cultural shift. Hollywood moves fast. Scandals that dominate headlines today can be replaced by new controversies tomorrow. But some stories stick, and this particular narrative wasn't one that would disappear overnight. Justin Baldoni's next move remained uncertain. Would he speak out? Would he reclaim his career? Or would he fade into the background while Ryan and Blake continued their carefully curated redemption tour? Then there was the issue of industry response. Would studios still back Ryan and Blake as leading figures in Hollywood? Would their fan base remain unwavering? Or had the public finally reached a tipping point where even the most beloved celebrities were no longer exempt from scrutiny? Only time would tell. But one thing was undeniable. This was far from over. Hollywood might love a comeback story, but it loves a downfall just as much. And Ryan and Blake were walking a fine line between the two. As the night unfolded, one thing became evident. Ryan and Blake were moving forward as if nothing had happened. Public opinion might be split, social media might rage, but they had made their move. They weren't apologizing. They weren't retreating. Whether that strategy would hold up in the long run remained to be seen. But one thing was certain. Hollywood was watching, and so was the world. What do you think? Was this a bold power move or a disastrous misstep? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest stories. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.